All right, this is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm pleased to have Americana duo, Donavon and Olivia. How you guys doing today?
Doing so good, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, you actually came from Redondo Beach.
Yes, I did today.
Okay, and then, but in all your bios it says that you guys are from Huntington. Mm-hmm. Is this a sin?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not a sin.
Apparently right now it is. To you, Eric.
No, it's, you know, I could really care less.
Okay, good.
I couldn't. It's just that it seemed a little deceptive that you guys were giving all the glory to Huntington Beach when actually there was like a little bit of flavor of Redondo going on there.
Well, I'm sort of a gypsy right now with a really good group of friends who let me stay kind of wherever I'm at that night, and Redondo Beach was that night.
You guys seem to like have a thing about the beach. I mean, the fact that your album title has the word sea in it. Mm-hmm. So what is your fascination? And you're a surfer.
The record comes from, a song lyric on the record. And we just have an affinity with the ocean in general. We're kind of beach people. I live in Huntington, and she's kind of a gypsy wherever. And, just kind of grew up around the ocean. And it just seems fitting that we are now kind of shoving off and with this debut record.
We're ready to set sail.
Yeah, you definitely have set sail. I mean, you guys recently played South by Southwest, which is huge.
That was my first time at South by Southwest. His second, but first time with Donavon and Olivia. It was wild. There's so many people out there. And we got to play a few shows, play out on the street, meet our PR company who we adore, and just got a lot of press out of it. It was amazing. So I think it's kind of started our year off in March, and now we are just ready to go for the rest of the year.
I heard that you guys actually got to meet Adrian Garnier out there from Entourage. Is that true?
It was a brief but fun meeting at his party where we saw a couple of bands rocking out.
It's true. We shook hands. We said hello. That was pretty much the extent of it. But we saw his band play. Yeah. We got to see some great shows out there. Eagles of Death Metal. We got to see the Lone Bellow.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the Lone Bellow were great.
If you haven't heard about the Lone Bellow, they're going to blow your mind.
Really? What is it like?
The Lone Bellow? They are Brooklyn country music is how they describe what they do. And it's two guys and a girl. And the amazing vocals that they have, the music is awesome, and they're blowing up this year. They're playing and touring like wildfire right now.
What's Adrian Garnier's band like? Because I've heard this from so many rock stars. All rock stars want to be actors, and all actors want to be rock stars. So how was he? Did he live up to the expectation?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. He was fronting this band. He was playing acoustic. There was a girl in it.
How did your youth shape your approach to music?
From whatever my brothers were listening to, from Van Halen, Motley Crue to Hendrix and Zeppelin. I mean, I got like most young guys. They listened to whatever the elders were listening to, and so that's I got shaped from a rock world, everything rock, and then my teenage years I kind of fell into punk and metal. Discovered like we were talking about earlier, Fear and some of those classic punk bands that were the Dead Boys that were just amazing, and I discovered Metallica. Just blew my mind, and today they're the only band where I would probably be in awe if I met them. I'd be like, just because they're so rooted in my DNA, my being. So and then as I got older I kind of discovered more country and Johnny Cash and George Jones, God bless him, and some of this other stuff. And my tastes are kind of ever evolving. Just I like great songwriters and distinct voices. I love just a singer.
Do you think it was more about the music when you were younger, or do you think it was more like that music fueled a rebellious side of you as a person?
I think music comes into your life at different times for different reasons, and I think that my initial scope of music was just a good kind of like education, and then from that education came skateboarding and surfing and stuff that you do when you're a teenager, and then you as a guy you have all this pent up aggression, so of course metal and punk just kind of I gravitated towards that, and as I've got mellowed out a little bit over the years, just a tad, and some other music kind of comes into your life at different times. I just had a baby, so some more sentimental kind of country ballads and whatnot.
I feel like I I had to have been listening to music from the womb. My mom was huge classic rock fan, Supertramp, the Eagles, Journey. I think America was the first band I saw live in a concert. I think I was younger than 4th grade. And it was like sitting down. I mean, it's probably why I do the music I do now. A little bit more hanging out at a wine bar, watching, singing music. But that gravitated into, I think Celine Dion was a huge female vocalist that I remember being inspired by. Then Fiona Apple hit, and that was my teenage angst. Happened 6th grade on. I wanted to be Fiona Apple. And I still appreciate her as an artist, though, dare I say it, I don't know if I kind of was feeling the last record she put out. But I know a lot of females who are digging that, and I will still support her no matter what. But from that became Anita Franco. That blew my mind, and I think that was when I knew at some point in my life I needed to learn the acoustic guitar, which over the last 4 or 5 years I've been trying to have some fun with that. And it's actually how I met him, was out performing by myself at the Pig and Whistle with my acoustic guitar and doing what I could do in it. And here it led me to David and this project. And it's just been such an easygoing flow. I mean, music has become my life, and it's always been my life. It just was a matter of me being conscious to it. And I think now I'm finally fully living this musical life.
You are an actress also. So at this point in your life, what's more important to you, because you are juggling both careers?
The juggling factor just has to do with when something comes up for me to go audition for, go out, perform, whatnot. But my life is full-time David and Olivia. That's my main schedule. Music is my first love.
Okay. How do you think you've changed musically and emotionally since meeting David?
Ooh. Well, since meeting David, all of last year was kind of just this huge year of growth for me, emotionally, with relationships, letting go of relationships, trying to find what it is I need to be letting go of for what I want in my life to be coming into it. And I think that's honestly been the whole David and Olivia project, what it's been about. On the Sea was written through all of my last year's turmoil, and that's kind of what came out of it, was this record of kind of this melancholy happiness, which we like to call it, where it's hard stuff, but it's always with a little bit of sweet, hopeful anticipation. And
yeah, I guess you're forever an optimist. Would you say you're also a forever an optimist also?
No, but I'm a recovering pessimist, so I'm trying to change that mentality.
So from what I understand, David, did you always, even though the songs start off as being a little melancholy, you try to end on a positive note, correct?
I don't think I tried to. I just think that a lot of, my personal belief that is what the world can be or is for me in my life, and for Olivia and everybody that's connected to me, because ultimately I'm just writing lyrics or a song based on people that I'm in close relationship. And when Olivia and I are on a tour, we've had so much time in the car to talk, so it's almost like when I'm writing a song, I'm writing about her experience or something of that nature. But I definitely think that I am forever an optimist. I like to think that this life isn't worth it if you're not. Anything is possible, especially in this country.
I've watched a number of your videos, and I think the one that just blows my mind is the one where you're walking on the rocks. Now, where was this video shot? You're at a beach, and you're walking on the rocks, and you're being very careful when you're walking. She's a little more aggressive. I noticed people's body language and things. So where was? Yes, you did. You did.
Because I didn't want to fall with the guitar. Okay.
So tell me, where was that shot?
Was that in Laguna?
That was probably Laguna Beach.
Okay. It amazed me how I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be the intro of the video, and then there's going to be a music track playing over them, playing the song. But no, you just start ripping into your song, and you guys are singing, and it sounds amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that was.
We appreciate the live performance aspect of music videos.
It's like how guitar and Olivia will travel, right?
Exactly. Yes. We, I think that it's the basis of our style of music, American roots music. You play it, whether it's an acoustic guitar or a banjo or whatever, and it's a vocal, it's a voice, you know, and so you can always take that with you. And that's what people had in the American roots, you know, that's what the founding fathers of this country, you know, musically, that's what they had. They just had an acoustic guitar or some sort of an instrument that projected itself.
They certainly didn't have their MacBook Pro.
The first time that you saw Olivia perform, how did you know that your feelings that you were having about her were purely musical?
Because my wife was sitting right next to me.
That doesn't mean anything.
His beautiful pregnant wife.
My beautiful pregnant wife at the
sitting
time was sitting right next to me, and
Having the
we
same-
both looked at each other when she started singing. We're like, "That's the voice I hear." That's because I was writing this song called "Key to My Heart," and I didn't know who needed to be the other part of that duo or what it was. But once I heard her voice, I knew it, and I turned to my wife and I said, "That's the voice I hear." I just got so excited. I was just like stoked that I found this, and so then it was just getting to meet her later. You know, I got in touch with her manager, came up to me, said, "Oh, I'd like to, hey, here's my card, I'd like to work with you," or something like that. And I said, "That's great. I'm not really interested, thank you, but I would like to talk with her." And so the next time we met, we were in the studio in North Hollywood recording that song.
So now we have like kind of a Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham thing going on here a little bit. I mean,
We hear that a lot.
Yeah, we hear that.
Definitely.
We hear Johnny and June, you know,
Yeah.
everything but the romantic side is true.
how do you think that David's wife has embraced your relationship with him?
It really had, from the beginning, become like a brother-sister. We look out for each other, friendship. And how I know she's accepting is that they let me stay in their extra room in their house. I have tons of conversations with her one-to-one, talking about David.
It's really about communication,
And
I think.
I've been accepted into the family, and it's become like the sister, the other younger sister, or
Yeah,
you know, kind of a thing. And it's a blessing that it has been as easy as it has been with Kendra and me being kind of a part of this duo. But it's important that I'm here. That is key. And us together, we're all trying to push this. And she's very much involved with our project and making sure we have that presence on stage. Here's the first reason I think I knew she was fine. We're doing some shows. We're practicing at the beginning of last year, and she finally just comes up to us at the end. She's like, "You guys are singing songs about love. You need to look at each other." She's like, "It's okay. Please look at each other and share a moment and do something. It's just weird if you don't." And I was just like, "Okay, Kendra, I will now. Thank you." You know, she's the one who can kind of open that up and be like, "Go." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
How have you seen your music touching people's lives on the road?
We had this show down in Lugatti's in Huntington Beach, which is like our main kind of place to play when we're home. And we had just this group that was sitting, and they kind of had some sunglasses on, and they were in, you know, black and whites, and we were just doing a whole set. It was like a 3-hour set, playing everything, tons of covers, some originals, and we just kind of looked over and saw some tears, you know. I'm like, okay, there's something going on, something interesting. So we find out that the daughter comes up to us and was like, "Do you have anything?" What was the band? Was it?
Do you have any
the
Beatles?
Do you have any Beatles? Play some Beatles. Okay, cool. Well, this one song we had
Yeah.
from the Beatles was "Your Blues."
Your Blues. She's like,
Play it, and she's crying. The mom's crying, and it was just this moment like, oh man, I hope that's okay, you know? Well, they take off, and the daughter comes back and just is bawling and crying, and they had just been to her mom's sister's funeral that day, and everything we played, they didn't intend on staying. Everything we played covers just what we do, was some memory that she was sharing and like going through this turmoil, this experience. And apparently that song was just the perfect song. They thought we literally knew what they had gone through in their life today, and we were just speaking to them through music.
because I don't know if you know the lyrics for that song, or if you know it's from the White Album, and it's like, you know, want to die, you know, yes, I'm lonely, I want to die, type of a thing. And it's a Lennon written song that was just really bluesy, and that's why I liked it a lot. And anyway, so that was one of the, I didn't know why they were there or what. I just picked that because it was a good jam and we sing it well. And then afterwards they had said about the funeral and stuff. I was like, oh, that was probably not the right move. And then she said, no, it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. you hit a chord, and I was like, wow, okay, that was a good move then.
You even said to me that night, you're like, this is why we do this. No one else gets to experience something like that with interpersonal. I mean, I'm sure there are other jobs you could have that you do, but something like that is just very touching and amazing that we got to experience someone's something and help go through that time.
David, what do you love most about Olivia?
I love her bubbly personality and the ability to just go along and flow. I just like that because she is pretty easygoing, and she's the hell of a talent.
And Olivia, what do you love about David?
The amazing businessman that he is. I really do think that he is the reason we are where we're at right now. I'm blessed that he kind of found me and presented the idea of doing this, having me be on his stuff. I don't think, obviously I wouldn't be there if he wasn't there that night, but he puts in so much time and effort and phone calls, and he does all that stuff that I just so glad I don't have to do. And on top of that, he's such a ball buster, and we have so much fun, and I like how open and free he is with his life and his experience. We have a good time.
Do you think your lives are easy on the road, or you guys feel like you're still paying your dues?
I've been on the road a lot, and it's not as hard as it was.
Okay.
Especially because there's only two of us. There's only two spaces on a floor that we need to find and secure for sleeping. If we need a hotel room, it's a bed each, it's easier than the times that I've had before. Now we're able to fly out because we have an acoustic guitar a lot, the time, so we can fly to different places. If we need to go to Portland, if we need to go to Texas, we don't have to drive there. But I also think that just her personality breaks up so much monotony on the road, and like us together just hanging out and talking about things. There's never a shortage of things to talk about.
Yeah. I heard that you guys were playing wineries and things to me, and that sounds very highbrow. And usually when you get a highbrow audience, that means there's more of a financial support there, where people want you to be there, and it's not like you're fighting 50,000 other people for a place.
That's true. There's a different clientele that we're playing to a majority of the time, but now we're starting to play out at more specific venues and clubs now. But at the wineries, it was like, you remember Metallica like in 91 or whatever, right? And you had Jason Newsted, and he'd be getting, they were on tour with Guns, and Guns would be blowing all this money for parties and backstage and all this kind of stuff. Metallica was there. They were a well-oiled machine. Jason Newsted was taking the finger foods and saving them for later. That's kind of how we run too. It's like, you take that money so that we can get paid out, so that in the end, we're not spending for a hotel. We're trying to stay at a friend's house. We're still doing it, with a punk rock mentality in a way. So it's this whole thing where it's like, yes, we're playing better venues and, higher clientele sometimes, but we still love to get dirty. We still love to get the nitty gritty, and, we're just trying to be smart about it. So where you don't need to make expenditures and stuff, you don't need to.
What inspired the lyrics for the song Love Ain't Easy? And I'll start off with you, Olivia.
I know that song kind of started with the first beginning lyrics that he presented to me with the idea. And to me, the song says it all. I think anyone can relate to that one lyric, Love Ain't Easy. And it's a really beautiful song that is written by David, and he's kind of a master, I think, of words when it comes to love. Even though he says this is his first time branching out and talking about love, I'm like, well, you've got a bevy of feelings and emotions there that I'm really excited to share.
I can remember the first time I showed her that song. It was, I think you had just played like a little small gig or something like that, and I'd come to see you play, and we were still kind of not together as David and Olivia yet, and so I pulled the guitar out of my trunk. I was like, hey, you got to hear this song. So then I played it for her right there in the street, and she's like, that's great. It sounds like a really good song. She's like, can I go now? No. But she liked it. She liked it a lot. It was a good song, and
leave me alone.
once we went to the studio, she was stoked that was one of the songs that we were kind of working on.
I think that's actually one of the first songs we started to mold together and sing and practice and be a part of in developing David and Olivia. And it's this awesome back and forth, which I love. I think it's really fun. And we were really, I don't know, I think it's the longest original song that we've been singing.
Yeah.
Other than Key to My Heart.
Other than the Key to My Heart.
Sometimes as artists, we're very precious about our songs, and we don't want to let anybody else into that little place where we're writing. So at what point do you start putting your input in, and are you okay with it?
You know, I don't know where I begin and you kind of end or whatever. You know, I think it's that somebody comes up with an idea. I usually like to sit in a quiet room and just kind of mull it over for a bit. And then we kind of bring it back and we kind of mold it some more. And every song is so different, like in the way that it works.
Where it's coming from.
Where it's coming from, the words, whose experience it was.
We have songs that it's like he has the guitar to it, or I have the guitar to it. And then someone starts to get that vocal melody, and we're kind of humming that. And then a lyric will come up. And it really is, both of us have exactly both things happening. And then
one of the songs, Finally Fine,
which is another song.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that song is going to be a hit for you guys.
Yeah, Olivia kind of came up with that tune. It's an old song of hers. It was slowed down. The lyrics were a little bit different, and I think the basic melody was still the same. And she was like, I want to do something with this. So she sent it over. Within, like, I think 6 hours, I sent it back to her, you know, of taking care of a baby and doing all this stuff, and then in between, and then working on that. And I sent it back to her, and she was like, perfect. That's exactly what it was. And it was just, I was so stoked about it. I thought about, like, if Mike Ness had this song, where would he go with it? You know? So.
The weather change. Okay, who instigated that song?
That's where the collaboration is interesting, because I don't have any writing credit on the song, but that song was written all of last year in our travels, and a lot of my emotion and where I was at, and battling, my downs, as I like to say in a very nice way. And when he brought that song to me, the first two lyrics, I'm in a bad place, a very, very, dark and sad place, and just the feeling of it and where it was going, I just had this vision. I was like, I have to sing that song. That's my song, and he was just kind of like, whoa, okay, and then he just went through the rest of the song, and I knew that song needed to be with my voice. I needed to be singing that, because that was where I was at without even having to write it. And I feel like that's where he channels, my experiences of living through some of that life with me and on the road. He kind of molded that song, and I think had me in mind, and I felt it very, very quickly.
Yeah, she did. She definitely felt that tune, and you can't argue with somebody when they feel something so strong, especially if you're other singer in the band, so it's like, if you feel it that much, and it's true, we did spend so much time in the car talking about different things, and Olivia does have ups and downs.
Weather change, I mean, that's a great way of looking at changing emotions.
I think the term the weather change, initially when I was writing it initially came from my mom, because my mom has arthritis, and she has really bad arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and so she lives out in the desert with my dad. They've since retired there from LA, and but when the weather changes, she said she can feel it in her bones, because her bones start to get like a little, her joints and stuff, achy, and and so that's where that initially came from. And then just I started writing about the deepest, darkest place that you could possibly be in, and with Olivia singing it, it doesn't sound so like, I don't know, like a metal gospel song or something. It sounds like uplifting, and there's an honesty to her voice, because she's actually gone through those times, and there's some validity in that.
How has having your daughter Amelie changed you as a person?
I think it's given me the ability to not care about what people say.
I like that.
It's she's made me I think more of a man in that, and not just, I just don't care anymore. So I do for my family, and I do for my friends and those closest to me, and that's it. I don't care about anything else.
How important is the fame, and could you live without it?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Are you sure?
I don't care so much about that. I want to be able to live my life and have a ranch somewhere in a totally different part of America where no one knows I'm at. all that stuff sounds great. Unfortunately, I do have to visually be a part of what's going on. And all of that is fun because I can put on a happy face, but sometimes I just need to step back, not be a part of it at all, and have my quiet time.
Okay.
alone.
And David, what about you?
I think that fame has always been a weird word. What's fame to one person isn't fame to somebody else. I just want to be acknowledged. So that's
As talented.
or
Yeah.
a songwriter or a voice or doing something that I've been doing for my whole life. So if I'm famous to my family or friends or whatever, I don't know. I just want to be able to do this for a living for as long as I live.
Yeah.
I don't want to retire from it. It's just something that I always want to do.
Do you live by the precepts of sex, drugs, and rock and roll? And if so, do you own it or does it own you?
I think I used to. I think when I was younger. But now it's all about sex with my wife and rock and roll.
Okay. So it's still in there.
And I like
It's clean now.
beer. Yeah, I like a craft beer.
That's your drug, yeah.
Yeah, it's my drug.
You love your beer and your sports.
And then what about you?
I used to think it would be so cool to live really hardcore rock and roll, do all the drugs, kind of, I don't know what, get close to ODing. All that stuff sounded really awesome and fun, but I always, at the end of the day, have responsibilities that I have to do, and I know in order to fulfill those responsibilities, I can't do any of that. So that's kind of been my dynamic with it. It sucks. It'd be great to be that person who doesn't care about these things over here, I don't know, making money, and I don't know. All those things kind of always hindered to me, making money and living life and all that.
No, because if you're on drugs and you're chasing the dragon, that becomes your full-time job, is doing drugs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I couldn't just enjoy going and doing that because that's all I would be doing, and therefore all my responsibilities are gone.
Cool.
They still exist.
And I would hate to see you in a dumpster.
I have really good credit score, so I want to keep that up. Yeah.
Are you ever afraid of taking your blessings for granted?
Every day I have to make sure I look up and say thank you so much, and whatever that is, if that's praying, if that's whatever it is, I just know that if I'm not doing that and I don't remember to do that a day, I rush and I make sure I do it right there in that moment.
And then David, you?
Blessings. Every time I look at my family or my daughter, I know I'm blessed.
Yeah, you don't take it for granted.
I don't take it for granted, no. The record's called On the Sea by David and Olivia, and you can get it on all major internet distribution lines like iTunes, CD Baby, Bandcamp, everywhere.
This is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with David and Olivia. Signing off.
The Blairing Out Show.